This game is one of the greatest games I have ever watched from the Wallabies. Not just because this was a historical win, not just because it's a historical win against one of the most strategically crafted Springbok teams I've ever seen, but this was a game where there is a clear shift for the Wallabies from the goal kicking, penalty milking, and God, let's just get the game over with style of the rugby that we've seen from the Wallabies since the Eddie Jones takeover, to a team that really went out there and wanted to play rugby. No goal kicking, no penalty milking, and try to play mind games with the opposition, pushing and shoving. That sort of garbage, time-wasting garbage. Just honed in rugby, rugby, and rugby. There were problems early in the game that was so bad, I wanted to puke. I felt sick watching the first 20 minutes. But the Wallabies stay composed under the immense pressure in the cauldron that is Ellis Park. And not only that, the Wallabies found themselves a way out, they kept on pushing, and end up the results that we got tonight. And this is not just a one game result. This was this started from the club level from the Wallabies, from a lot of the players in Super Rugby level. Because in Super Rugby this year, there was a clear shift on the teams to stop milking and kicking penalty goals. And we translated what everybody was doing in Super Rugby into the test team. And this is the result that every Australian rugby fan wanted to see for so many years. We've been trying to play the dog shit England style for way too long. This is the Australian style. Even if you play like this and you lose the game, at least you tried. You're not out there trying to take the easy way out. And boy, I was so proud of the boys. I was shaking watching the end of the game. I could not believe it. And it was unbelievable. It was surreal. I had an out-of-body experience watching the end of the game. I could not believe what was happening. I had to picture myself a few times to make sure this... I know this is very late. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm just making sure that I haven't fallen asleep. And this is just all a dream, okay? This is not a dream, right? Like, I haven't fallen asleep watching the game. And this is just a dream. We did not win. No, we did. 38 points to 12. And boy, first of all, the Springboks had a really, really incredible game plan. One thing that, despite the loss, the first 20 minutes of the Springbok was another just addition to the Rassie Erasmus game plan, the Springbok doctrine, if you might call it, the Rassie Erasmus playbook. I think that's, if you're a Springbok fan, I wouldn't be too disheartened by this loss, because the one thing you want to see out of your team is striving to be better, striving to take it up to the next level. And that's what the Springboks did tonight. They tried and they did outstanding in the first 20 minutes. Like, there was more than 1 point a minute against the Wallabies, and it was a clear game plan that the coaches has composed behind the scenes and executed to perfection by the players on the field. Let me show you what the Springboks actually did that impressed me so much. The Springboks have identified the fact that Ikitau and Swali'i both are kind of, out of position, you might say. Swali'i obviously new. Ikitau normally plays at 13. So what the Springboks did for the first 20 minutes was they basically spread the ball towards one side of the end and try to compress both the centers towards one corner and then switch it back to the other end, and then they just get massive amount of yardage out of that, because you end up with a bunch of forwards defending this big wide space against, you know, the speed that the Springboks had on the field. And immediately the Springbok goes forward like 20-25 meters. And then sure enough, few moments later, maybe the Wallabies were having some communication issues. The centers are just not really finding the right matchups defending on the field. And the Springboks really exploited that and then just easily put 22 points on the Wallabies in less than 20 minutes. So this is one screenshot I grabbed as well, right? So Springboks compressed to this side of the field, which is to the left, to the left and to their left side. You can see Swali'i got caught isolated here. His opposite number is already shifted around to the opposite end and he hasn't realized. And this has left a bunch of forwards defending a pretty big white area, and the Springboks managed to get a lot of distance out of that. I think that might have scored from this one. And this is another shot a bit later, 15 minutes. Same here. They spread the ball all the way to one end and they compressed the field and they isolated both the Wallabies centers. You can see here, right? Both Swali'i and Ikitau were isolated in about a 10-yard range, leaving forward, Jem Slipper here, defending like a 40, like, you know, like a, I don't know, like a, you know, like a 40 meters maybe, wide field with just a bunch of forwards. And even if they don't make the break and score a try, they get massive forward momentum, just trying to outmatch with that speed out wide. And this was just a game plan, again, a new game, a clear work done behind the scenes by Rassie Erasmus to identify this problem with the Wallabies and then exploited that to the extreme for the first 20 minutes before the Wallabies finally started to adjust, started to talk to each other a little bit better, started to defend a little bit better, starting to have that Swali'i and Ikitau starting to kind of spread out a little bit more, and then really just fronted up physically and just, yeah, hold out the Springboks again and again and again and again. Turnovers and turnovers and turnovers throughout the entire game in crucial areas, identifying just absolute hunger. The hunger I haven't seen for a very long time from the Wallabies as well. Wanting to play rugby, wanting to just get the opportunity that is presented to them and maximize every second of it. Just something that I have not seen for a very long time. And the Springboks, through the kitchen sink at the Wallabies, could not crack it. Could not crack the defense for 60 minutes, allowing the Wallabies to come back to 38 points. 38 unanswered points in 60 odd minutes to win the match. Unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Especially in the second half. The Wallabies was still down. I think it was halftime was like 7 points to 22. Still down quite a lot. Angus Bell came on, immediately made an impact. Like I knew he would. And then the rest is history. Everyone did their job. Everyone fronted up physically. And the Springboks, maybe they did the substitutions a little bit too early. Sia Khaleesi was taken on maybe a little bit too early. You know, the Eben Espeth maybe taken on a little bit too early. The Damian Willemse went onto the field, looked lost. What was he a winger? Was he playing winger? I'm not sure what Willemse was playing out there. And looked a bit lost. His passes was going to the ground, not finding the right targets, and you can see a clear. I think he was put. Did they put him? Yeah. Where did he go? Was he a winger or was he a fullback? No, anyway, I don't know where it was, but there was a clear disconnect between Willemse and the players around him. And I thought a lot of the backline moves, like the intercept from Bokke, was just the disconnect with some of the some of the players in the backline. Maybe they're taking it too quickly. Maybe Rassie has taken the players out a little bit too quickly, giving everybody, he maybe felt a bit too comfortable with the 22-point lead. And sure enough, the Wallabies, you give him a sniff. Like I said, the players have built to this moment for this whole season. A clear shift in mindset from Super Rugby level all the way up to the Wallabies level. And this is the result. Every week I come out and I complain about goal kicking. Finally, that's out of the system for the Wallabies. And I don't know what to say. I'm really, really pleased with this. This is not just a win. This is a shift in culture. This is a shift in mentality for the Wallabies. And I don't know what to say. I'm really, 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 really pleased. So in addition to that, the Springboks also exploited that little bit kicking game as well. Just try to kick behind, and try to find that space out wide for that speedsters in Van der Merwe and Curdy Adensa. Just really trying to exploit that a little bit as well. Again, it's Rassie Rasmus is building towards the Rugby World Cup to defend it for the first team ever 3 times in a row, right? And these are the little things they need to do. And to be honest, the French do this style with, very fast wingers, a little kick behind to try to set the wingers up for a grabber sort of try. They have done that. The French has done that very successfully. And the Springboks is trying to evolve towards out of just the scrum and the goal kicking style, is trying to evolve with the game. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with what Rassie's trying to do here. The mindset, he can see there's a changing in style, especially the way that French plays, and he's trying to adopt some of that good stuff into his own team. And it worked great for 20 minutes. Now he's just going to figure out, did he take off the players too early? Is he a little bit too, like I said in my preview, a little bit too fancy with some of the changes in the back line? And, is he the scrum, the core dominance that he was looking for was not on display tonight? There was one scrum penalty against the Wallabies in the second half where Slipper got popped out. But then after that, it was pretty even. The Wallabies did a great job, especially in the first half. The contest between Tupou and Encha was just immense. You can see Encha trying his best to pop Tupou out, but Tupou had a really good body position to hold him off. And just, like when that goes out of the window, the Springboks don't have anything to go back to. They don't have that, okay, things are not working, let's go to the scrummaging and get the 3 points and just settle down. They don't have that anymore. And the Wallabies did their homework as well behind the scenes to get that section of the game greatly improved to shut out the Springboks, which was just, I can't say enough to thank Joe Schmidt for the outstanding work he's done to turn the Wallabies around over the last 2 years, not even 2 years, 1.5 years, and just incredible. This was also the return of Rabbit, one of my favorite players of all time, Nudgee College product in Brisbane. He was outstanding. I thought he was going to struggle playing altitude for 80 minutes, but it was fine. 80 minutes, not a problem. And he did struggle a little bit early in the game, but second half, boy, starting to get the hands through for the passes, finding the right options. Oh, he was just unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable. Jorgensen as well. Despite the Springboks being so dominant under the high ball, Jorgensen was the best player under the high ball the whole game. He was outstanding, just like he was against the British Irish Lions under the high ball. Outstanding. Again, something Rassie may have to think about. The game plan going in terms of the kicking game as well. The high ball just not really clean for their teams there in that regard. And finally, the $2 million boy earned his paycheck tonight. He earned his paycheck tonight. The intercept, the try was absolutely spectacular. He just reached out, grabbed the ball, plucked it out of the air from the Bokke pass, and he ran through. First try in his international test career, and against the Springboks, there's actually nothing sweeter than that. Outstanding. And I don't know what else to say. Great day to be a Wallaby fan. Big return. And if you're a Springbok fan, Rassie Rasmus, I would, the game plan is 100% going towards the right direction. He probably needs to find the right players to execute the game plan. And also, if the game plan stopped working, what's the backup plan? And it's almost like the Wallabies adjusted, and the Springboks was just like, what we try to do for the first 20 minutes isn't working anymore. What do we do? And then you can see it from the end. Like the Wallabies was getting like the loose pass at the end where Tom Rice scored on the other end. Just Springboks really trying stuff, throw the kitchen sink, the passes, and then just getting intercepted. And that is a clear sign when you have, when you don't have something to go back to, when your game plan stopped working and there's something that the players are not really sure what to do, and then they're just trying to force everything, and then suddenly things go from bad to worse for the Springboks. Definitely some work to do there, but boy, by the way, I told you, Rassie Maniacs, all of you Rassie Maniacs watching this video, I told you, Bokke Mania will die tonight, and I'm sorry. I am sorry. Okay, I sincerely apologize to all the Rassie Maniacs out there. It is what it is. So let's have a look at match stats of the game. 3 tries to 6 to the Wallabies. 580 run meters to the Springboks to 535. The Springboks still has more run meters, but just wasn't able to execute that the game plan, once the Wallabies figured it out. 17 turnovers considered against the Springboks, 12 against the Wallabies. 209 passes for the Springboks as well. The Wallabies 131. 106 tackles for the Springboks, 26 missed tackles. That is really high. We know one of the iron pillars of the Rassie Rasmus Springbok doctrine is defense, and that is a massive crack in the defensive stats. I think Rassie will not be happy with that. 157 for the Wallabies, 23 missed tackles there. 18 kicks in play for the Springboks, 29 for the Wallabies. Wallabies actually did more kicking than the Springboks. 1 missed conversion for the Springboks, 2 for James O'Connor. 433 kicks from hand, 560 for the Wallabies. So the kick meters is not that high. So there was a lot of tactical kicking for both teams, not a lot of long range kicks, something that the Springboks traditionally likes to do. Traditionally, you will see that Springbok kicking meters like over 1,000 easily. And again, it's not a bad thing. It's a sign that Rassie's trying new things, and it just hasn't quite worked for them tonight. Lineouts, again, this was actually horrendous for both teams. Both teams lost quite a bit of lineouts. 5 losses for the Springboks out of 11. Again, that should not happen for the Springboks. Should definitely not lose this many. The Wallabies, 14 lineouts, lost 4. Actually, better result there, but not great. No scrum loss for the Wallabies, but there was definitely 1 scrum penalty against Wallabies. At least 1 or 2 early in the second half. But there was 1 against Slipper as well. But overall, I thought the Wallabies managed the scrum quite good, and this is probably the biggest difference. 10 penalties considered against the Springboks, only 4 against the Wallabies. Really, really, really good. How often have we heard the Wallabies in the past come out and say, we lost the game. Not disciplined enough, guys. Not disciplined enough. And the next week gives away another 20 penalties, right? I cannot tell you how much work this team and all the players have done in Super Rugby season building into this game. Just the fact that you're not just kicking goals, you have to play more rugby. If you have to play more rugby, you have to make sure that you don't give away penalties. And you have more opportunities to practice, to get better and not controlling your discipline when you're under pressure. Again, just that little shift in the mindset for all the teams in Super Rugby for the Wallabies is shown tonight. And I could not be more happier for the players. Okay. Let's talk about the quick summary for the tries. So yeah, the game started. I was feeling sick, right? 2 minutes in, Springboks already scored, throwing the ball from end to end, and then there was a bit of a center field pressure, overlap to the left, just pass over the top. Ardensa goes in for the first try untouched, 7 points to 0. 2 minutes in. 8 minutes into the game, there was a breakout penalty for Malcolm Marx. Springbok kicked this one, 10 points to 0. 12 minutes into the game, again, just spreading it from wide to wide, compressing both our centers on one end, getting into the 22, and then eventually there was a lot of miscommunication all around the park. Sia Khaleesi looked up, no one in front of him, picked up, ran through, stiffed arm one of the defenders. Try time, 22 points to 0. 17 minutes in already. I was just sick. I was feeling sick. I wanted to puke at this point. The scrum, there was the first scrum, I think, after this. Massive scrum, and then the Wallabies did really well to hold out the push from the Springboks. There was a 28 minutes in for the Wallabies to finally getting a point, something on the ball. James O'Connor has been knocking the ball on quite a bit before this. Finally, he kind of found a little gap. Leaky tail passable to O'Connor. O'Connor like draw two defenders, still got the hands free, threw the ball out to Ikitau looping around. And Ikitau passable to Dylan Pish into the corner. 5 points to 22 is still looking pretty bad for the Wallabies at this point. But hey, slowly but surely the Wallabies was able to hold out the Springboks, go into halftime only not conceding any more points. Second half starts, the Wallabies made changes. 42 minutes, immediately Augustus Bell, right? He did a massive carry and then got up, got the ball, one Encho in front of him, short ball to what's his name? To Harry Wilson, ran through a gap for the try. 22 points to 12. Suddenly I'm feeling the Wallabies are making a shift, and then sure enough, there was a yellow card warning against the Springboks right in front. In the last, 2 years, in fact, 2 years ago, the Wallabies would go, oh yeah, we'll take the 3 right in front of the goalpost. We'll take the 3, guys. No, the Wallabies did not take the 3. They went for the line out. It didn't go well. You just like the Springboks immediately saw the line out and nothing came out of it. But it was the changing mindset. That's the most important. I talk about this every week. And finally, the players have maybe heard me screaming from my TV. Finally, the players, having that confidence back themselves. It's still going to work 100% of the times, but the fact that you tried is the most important part. And the Wallabies tried to go for the try instead of just kicking 3 points and pat themselves on the back. Hey, we're closing the gap a little bit, and that's the difference. That's the key difference right there when they did not kick the 3 point. 57 minutes in, again the Springboks was trying to run from out of their half. Mania in the box threw a long pass. Swali gets intercept. He runs in for the try. This was beautiful. 12 points to 19. What's this? 63 minutes into the game. Again, the Wallabies were attacking the first half. The Wallabies attack was really flat. I saw the first 20 minutes was really flat. The rush defense was just shutting down the Wallabies attack, and then now the Wallabies defense is clearly a lot deeper. Tom Wright got the ball. The rush defense missed the tackle on him. He ran through. Just patience. He didn't just throw the ball as quickly as he can. Patience. Waited for the last player to come in. Passed the ball to Harry Wilson. Ran in for the try. He heard it. Look at he cramped. He had a massive cramp on his knee. Hopefully it's gonna be okay. 22 points to 26. Wallabies pulls ahead like a miracle. And then 65 minutes in, again, the ball for the Wallabies, O'Connor spots space out wide. This was about 50 meter out. Long pass to Jorgensen. He ran through, steps, one-on-one. Mania the Bokke goes in for the try. Jorgensen is just outstanding. Goes in for the try. 22 points to 33. And at this point, you can sense the desperation coming in for the South Africans. They're just throwing the kitchen sink, throwing passes probably shouldn't be throwing. And eventually, it looked like the South Africans were going to score. They were running down the sideline. You can feel like it was if the South Africans scores this, they could potentially win the game. The ball was just, they had a little bit of overlap. There was hurry, like throw back into the field. And Esterhuizen knocked the ball on. And it was scooped up by Tom Wright. Ran down again, just taking his time. 1-on-1 against the greatest Springbok in the history of the Springboks, Damian Willemse. He stepped him. The greatest Springbok in the history of the Springboks. 2 times World Cup winner. He stepped him. And he goes in for the try. 22 points to 38. Just right at the end as well. Springboks tried to do a cheeky kickoff. Got a scrum. Couldn't quite get the 10 meters. And then James O'Connor get the ball out from the scrum. Kicks a 50-22. Just to put the nail in the coffin. And boy. The Wallabies almost scored after that as well. God, it looked like the ball was on the try line. But O'Keel was like held up. So no try, but it doesn't matter. The ball... Yeah, Wallabies kicked the ball out after that and ended the game. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I do appreciate you watching this. Hopefully, if you are a South African player, not to be too mad. I can see a lot of positives out of what Rassie's trying to do. I can understand. I think that this strategically they're moving towards the right direction, and they're set up for a great game next week, where Freedom Cup is on the line. Is it Freedom Cup? Is that Freedom Cup? I don't even know. It's Freedom Cup, right? Or is Freedom Cup played between The Boks and the All Blacks. I don't know. I haven't won it for so long. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good one, and cheers and donkey.